Welcome to Speedy Walkthroughs, where we show just the important stuff for beating the game. For those watching for the first time, this will look different to a normal walkthrough. It's designed to show just the essentials so that you don't need to spend a long time watching this video. I won't talk about fighting specific enemies unless they're very difficult, but I will show where to go and what to do. Today we're playing Wonder Boy 3, which is an action RPG slash adventure game and in my opinion an excellent hidden gem for the Master System. So once you're in and playing the game, you'll see it's fairly standard controls. You can move around and you can jump and you can use a weapon. The only kind of tricky thing is entering doors, and that's holding up, but you do have to hold up for a little while before you'll actually be able to enter the door. Now there's one thing that's not shown on this diagram, and that's using a special weapon, and that's the duck button plus the jump button to do that. So when you're playing this game, you'll be able to check your inventory with pause, and you should see all your swords, shields, and armors there. A few key things to note: you've got these three stats up the top right, just above the fireballs there. AP and DP are attack and defense. Hopefully they're pretty self-explanatory, but CP is a very strange stat. CP stands for charisma points, and it essentially determines what you can buy from the shop. So what you'll actually find is as you're putting on new and better armors, yes, they'll increase your defense, but they'll also increase your charisma, which means you can then buy even better armors from the shop after that. And then if you don't have much charisma, they just basically won't sell you anything. The other way to get charisma is by collecting these stones. So if you see an enemy drop one of those, they give you a charisma point. And also, if you get 99 of these stones, it opens a secret door to the end of the game. But that's not how we'll be beating the game today. The other thing that I want to show you from this menu is your special weapons. So if I select Tornado there, and then unpause, then if I hold down and jump, I should fire off a Tornado there. Really good. So the best weapon to use probably is the boomerang, and that's because if you use a boomerang and catch it, you'll keep the boomerang, whereas I've just used the Tornado there and I've lost it. Okay, let's make a start on the guide. So you're going to hit new game there and you'll be brought into this castle. This castle is actually from the end of Wonder Boy 2, but luckily it's a bit simpler for us in Wonder Boy 3 than it was in Wonder Boy 2 at the end. So I will speed through a bit of this because it's fairly straightforward. You're just going to run to the right here, and then you're going to take up at the end of this path. Then you're going to keep running to the right. You're going to drop down this hole and then go left. And then you're going to go left and keep going left until you get to the boss. Now this dragon boss, you're going to hit on the head to attack, and try not to hit it off the screen too much, otherwise then you won't be able to attack it for a little while. Obviously, because it moves back when you hit it, it's kind of hard not to hit it off the screen, but just do your best. You've got lots of health in this fight, so hopefully it shouldn't matter too much. You also have that blue potion, which is an extra life there. When this fireball comes out, you want to collect as many coins as you can without getting hit by it. As soon as you get hit, it moves on to the next bit of the game and you'll lose the opportunity to get these coins. So it's a good opportunity to get some coins. We use coins in this game for buying armors and swords and shields. Okay, now we've got our first transformation, and the theme of the game is we get transformed into all sorts of different creatures. So we're going to head to the right out of this castle here, and then we're going to get a key from this dude. And you're basically just going to keep going to the right, dodging the falling blocks there. And then eventually, at the end of the next room, the falling blocks will make a staircase to let you out of the castle. You just wait for those to form, and then you head straight out, and then we go left to get to the start of the game, really. So now that the castle is broken, it's essentially the game is properly started, and we're going to end up in the hub town. The first thing that you can do here is go straight in this door and you'll get a bit of heart. So you can get lots of heart upgrades in this game, and that's the first one that you can really get. Then we're going to head out here. Okay, so you're going to head down this door and you're going to go through to the beach. We're basically going to keep heading right until we get to the end of the beach. We're going to keep heading right out of this area here and we'll get to the beach. We're going to go all the way along the beach until we get a key. So just keep heading right, try not to fall down, and you will find yourself here. So this house here does have a shop, but what we're interested in is the key. We're going to hit in that left door and get the key from the chest. Once you got the key from the chest, just head back out and then head all the way back to the left again. So go through the beach, you will reach this door here, which will bring you back to town. Now that we've got the key, we can open this door here and we can head up to the desert area. So we're going to go through the door here and we'll take a left once we get into the desert. You're going to keep going left and you'll eventually come across this pyramid thing after a few screens. And we can climb over the pyramid and that'll get us our second heart container, which should help out quite a bit. So you got to climb this pyramid and then fall down the other side. Be careful of this enemy down the bottom, it can be pretty tough. But once you get it, it'll be okay. There we go. And we'll get a heart piece. That enemy there is really good to farm gold off of. So if you want a quick way to get gold, there it is. And we're going to head back up the pyramid until we get to the top again. And then we're going to come all the way down. We're going to head in towards our first dungeon here. So the first pipe you can drop down just bounces you straight back up. That's not very interesting. But this second pipe here will bring you to the correct area. So you're going to head left and then you're going to weave your way up the pyramid. Now that door that I just passed had a nurse in it, so if you do need some extra health, you can go there and pay some money to heal up. But then if not, you're going to head straight in here. We're in this first dungeon area and we're going to fight our next dragon boss in here. So you're just going to go all the way to the left here until you get to the end. And when you get to the end, you can jump straight across this gap here. That gap has an invisible hole in it. And then you can get this treasure chest. So this is one example of a chest that has a bunch of extra goodies in it that's really hidden away. And I'll try and show off as many of those as I can in this walkthrough. So yeah, it's really easy to get money in this game if you know where all those hidden things are. Now this dragon boss fight is very repetitive because he flies up in the air and it takes a while for him to come back down. You can only hit him when he's down towards the ground. If you do have an arrow special weapon thing, you can fire the arrow up and it'll hit it. Just be aware if you fire those arrows, they do go straight up when you fire them. So I'm going to skip through most of this boss fight, but you basically just keep hitting it. And just remember, when you beat a boss, don't touch the blue flame. You want to collect as many coins as you can before that happens. So when you touch the flame eventually, you would turn into Mouse Man, and the ability for Mouse Man is A, he's small, but B, he can grip onto these checkered pattern blocks here. Go to the right to grab another key, because you might as well. That's the key we used to get into the dungeon, but it did respawn. And then you're going to go along these blocks. If you're having trouble getting stuck to the blocks, basically, if you just jump again, then each jump will either like latch you on or detach you. So if you're not going around the edges properly, try jumping and you'll get reattached to the blocks there. The controls are very finicky, but you do get used to them over time. And we're going to head out here. So we'll get the goodies in this chest and then we'll head out. It's important, just check that blue windowed shop there. You may not need what's in it, but you may need what's in it, it depends. I'm not grabbing that now. So the return door takes us back to town. And I'm going to buy the first bit of armor. We could have done this a lot earlier as the dragon, and that would have made the first dungeon easier. But with that armor there, we're going to equip it. And you can see that upped our CP or charisma points. That'll allow us to buy some better armor later on in the game. Alright, when coming through this area, you'll go to the left. Whoops. You'll go to the left on that screen there. And you'll go to the left on this screen. And you'll reach this sort of maze area. Now, the intended path is just not at the top, but the first one down from that. But if you do go to the top, you'll find a secret area with a lot more money in it. So that's always handy. Then we're going to take the intended path into the forest here, which is just going up, down through this exit. Now we're going to see a really good demonstration of charisma points here. So if we go in here, you'll see I can only buy the armor. So I'm going to buy that and equip it. And my charisma points goes from 56 up to 79. And now that it's 79, you can see I can actually buy more stuff from the shop here. So charisma points matters. So with the new weapons we got, we're going to equip those. Shogun Blade ups our attack. That'll help on the next boss. So we're just going to head left through the forest here. Now, I was lucky enough to pick up a boomerang off this skeleton, and you can equip that just by doing this. And then you should be able to see the boomerang's really useful, because as long as you catch it, you keep the boomerang, which is fantastic. It's a really good weapon to have. When you make your way through the forest, at the very end you'll see this red enemy. You do want to kill the red enemy, because that has a key to the next dungeon. Very easy to miss that one. So you climb up this wall to the left, and then you just jump off and get in the door here. And there we go. So we're going to go down first, and that'll get us to another medicine potion. If you go down, you follow this wall, we'll eventually get in that door up there. Now this has a whole bunch of stuff, but most importantly that medicine potion. So that's like your extra lives essentially. We're going to come out here and then get back to where we started. And then from there we're just going left. Now this is a very linear path, so I'll skip through a little bit. You'll get to this area here, which I always find kind of cool. You're a bit out of bounds, which is nice. And once you get through this area, you're just continuing the linear path. It looks pretty mazy, this dungeon, but there's actually only one way to go, so you won't get lost. Now, one thing I should point out, just on this next screen here, with these green guys, one of them pretty consistently drops a blue 1-up potion. So if you're struggling for those, I think it's the one on the end that you can kill to get that. So it's very consistent to get it. Sometimes you don't, but if you kill it a few times, you will get it. Anyway, moving on, we're going to head to the boss. Now this boss will go inside the ground. You can only hit it when it pops out of the ground, so just like that. So that's why it's really good to have the sword upgrade here, because it makes this a little bit faster. Anyway, I'm going to skip to the end of the boss here. And as per usual, when the blue flame spawns, don't touch it. Try and get those coins. So our next transformation is the Piranha Man, and the ability this one has is swimming really well. So we're going to just go and get this key again, because it's nice to have a spare key. Just like what we did in the first dungeon. And then we're going to swim up to this door here. So we're going to get this chest that has a few goodies in it. It's just got that extra heart. And we're going to head back to town. Now that we're back in town with the Piranha, it opens up a lot of options because we can swim pretty much anywhere we want. But the first thing we're going to do is head back up to the desert and get the sword which can break the grey blocks. So we're going to head into the desert here and then take a right. And we're going to go right for a really, really long time. Eventually you'll cross this lava area and you'll come across this building here. This building sells the dragon mail, which is a really important item. So we're going to go in here and buy that dragon mail. And then we're going to raid the chest for goodies. But you'll notice when we equip the dragon mail, it's actually got worse stats than what we're currently wearing. So you might be wondering, well, why are we equipping it? The answer is the dragon mail protects you from this lava. And you need to go through the lava to get to the next area. So that's something that's very easy to miss. A lot of people won't equip the dragon mail because it's got worse stats. And then they won't know how to get across the lava here. So yeah, very easy to miss that bit. We're going to keep heading through the lava area to the right, and we'll get into this building here. Now, this building will be our first instance of a character changing platform. In this door we're going to go in, there'll be a platform, and every time you jump on it, it cycles through all the characters you've unlocked so far. We're going to cycle through to Mouse Man, because we need it for the next area. And we're going to head up these blocks here. And then right in that chest there is the sword that I was talking about. So this sword breaks the grey blocks, and it can break those 2 grey blocks to the left there. So you'll often see grey blocks sort of in a little building, and then you can break one and it'll have a secret behind it. More often than not, it's just like a door back to town or something, and we'll see a few of those throughout the game. So we're going to change back to the piranha here, and then we'll move on and get back to town. And there we go. Now that we're in town, we're going to head back down to the beach area. But on our way to the beach area, we can actually unlock another armor because we got the piranha swimming. So we can now swim up this bit here, and we'll be able to get new armor. Now, because I'm still wearing the dragon mail, I'm going to have really low charisma. So I'm actually going to swap into a armor of higher charisma before going into the shop. Otherwise, I won't be able to buy the items in the shop. So in this shop, we're just buying the samurai armor, and that's a little bit better, a bit higher defense for us. Okay, now we're going to head back down and go to the beach on the right. But instead of walking across the beach, we're actually going to fall down and go in the water. This is our next dungeon in here, and we would have needed that sword from before to break these 4 blocks and get in. Okay, so once you're down in the water, you're going to go down and head to the right. You will come across these little floating platforms, and then you're going to go up and right from here. So here we're passing what is the dungeon, that's the ship thing here, but we're actually going to go right past that and get ourselves another heart piece before going into the dungeon. So in this door here is the heart, and then we're going to go back out and to the dungeon. Okay, this dungeon's fairly linear, so I won't show too much of it. But essentially, you'll just get to the very end, and you'll be fighting the dragon. So when you fight the dragon, you just got to wait for it to come out. Oh, sorry. My bad. You'll get to the very end here, and you'll fight the dragon. There we go. Correct dragon. So when you fight this dragon, you've got to just get under his little hooks that he throws. And then he's sometimes not vulnerable to be hit, so I usually use his hook as a tell. When that points down, I know I can hit him usually. It's kind of a weird boss, this one. But with some patience, you'll get the hang of it. Just be sure to hang back and get under his hooks. Okay, so we're at the end of the dragon fight here. And once again, just collect all the coins before you get hit by that blue flame. If you can. It's kind of difficult to do it. Alright. So now with the lion, there isn't too much of a special ability with this one, except that he can hit blocks above his head and below his head, because his sword swings in an arc rather than swinging forward. So this door takes us back to town, and that's what I was saying about the hidden blocks before. They often unlock those secret paths. Okay, so we can open this door in here with our special sword and transform into a different character. Okay, so now that we're Mouse Man in town, we can head down into this area. We wouldn't have been able to get there without the sword before. And what we're essentially doing in here is getting an item called the Magical Sword. That'll be important for later in the game, but it's not really useful until basically the very end. So you're going to break these blocks and sort of just go along with the Mouse Man. It takes a little while to get through them. But then you're going to break this one up here, and that'll open up a new area for us. This chest has the magic sword that I was talking about. And it can pretty much turn these wall tiles into blocks. So you can make yourself a little staircase and go up on it. And then we can head back out. That's everything we needed the little mouse man for. And so we're going to transform back into the lion. Of course, we need our normal sword instead of the magic sword, because the magic sword can't actually attack anything. So now that we're back to Lion Man, we can go to the next area of the game. We're going to head down where we were with Mouse. We can get in there with the lion because he slashes down, whereas we got him with the mouse because he was facing down due to the blocks. I'm going to head down into this area and just grab a quick heart piece. And then we're going to head back out. Then we're going to head to the left and you want to jump down the third hole here. And we're going to go through this area. Now this area is really, really long. I'm just going to skip to this bit where we're in the blue section again, and you have an optional item to pick up. It's called the Tasmanian Sword. Now I'm picking it up here because it's going to be a bit stronger, but it actually has a special effect. So if you're wearing the Tasmanian Sword, you can jump into the air and hold the 2 button on the second player's controller, and then attack with the first player's controller, and you'll transform into another character. So that's a really useful feature of the Tasmanian Sword if you do want to use it, because you can transfer into other characters any way you want. And in fact, it's not even limited to characters you've unlocked. So we're about to unlock the Hawk, and we could transform into the Hawk right now if we wanted to with the Tasmanian Sword. Now I'm not doing that because this is more of a walkthrough without using that Tasmanian Sword, but if you do feel like using it, it is an option for you. It's a bit debatable whether it's considered a glitch or a feature, but yeah, it seems reasonably intentional that they put it in, or at least as a debug feature or something. Anyway, we're going to go to the left here until we get to this building, and then we're going to go through it. This building's fairly linear, so you go to the right until you hit this door, and then you're going to go through a whole bunch of rooms fighting enemies until you get to the boss room. Now this boss, just attack him while his sword's up and you'll be okay. And then we finish him off, and as per usual, grab all the coins before we go. So this blue flame transforms us into the Hawk, and that has the ability to fly. As I'm sure you can imagine, that busts the game wide open. We've got lots of options for exploration now. So we're going to fly up here. If I'm not mistaken, in this area, you can get something called the Hades armor in that shop there. What the Hades armor does is it restores your health if you die. And basically what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to die, get it to restore your health, then the armor breaks, and then you take it off and put on a different armor. But it doesn't really do that, so you can just keep the armor on during, let's say, the last boss fight, and you can just keep dying to the last boss, and it doesn't matter because you keep getting your health restored. So that's an option too if you wanted the Hades armor. It makes the end game much, much easier. So we're going to fly over here with the bird and get into this building. And get us some extra money. So we're going to go around and collect a few more goodies with the Hawk. We're going to go down into this water area and fly upwards. This is an area we couldn't get to before, and we'll get that heart container there. Next thing we're going to do is head to the castle, which was right at the start of the game. So we couldn't get to that castle till now because we need the Hawk to get up there, but basically if you fly up here and then right, you'll get to that castle. The main reason we're going here is to get all the legendary equipment. So we're going to go through this door here, and we're going to follow the same path through the castle as we did at the start of the game. So you go right and up, then you go down this hole in this room, you go to the left when you fall down, and then you just keep going to the left until you hit the boss. Well, not the boss, it's actually going to be the legendary sword. So in this door here is a legendary sword, but almost more importantly, if you go out and then in again, the chest changes to a chest with 2,000 gold in it, which is absolutely fantastic. So we'll pick up the legendary sword and the legendary armor for free, but we actually do have to pay for the legendary shield, which is in this castle. So once we get all 3 of those, we'll be set. You're going to get the key off this enemy here and go into this room. And then in this room, you'll eventually come across this blue guy. This blue guy is holding the legendary armor, so make sure you kill this one. And we'll keep going through. So we're going to fly up here, and then we're going to fly back down. I'm going to equip the legendary stuff for better charisma, because you need a lot of charisma to buy the legendary shield. So there's a secret door in here, and that's got the shield in it. You can see I've got barely just enough gold left after buying that. But now we're pretty much decked out with some of the best equipment in the game. It's important to note that different characters have different optimal equipment. So as you're playing through, make sure when you swap characters, you do check which one, like what's the best equipment for which one when you pick it, because you will have to change that quite a bit. So we're going to head left here, and we're going to go to this shop just to buy a key, really. And then we're going to fly left through town, and we're going to fly kind of up and left to this last area here. So I'm sure it goes without saying, we couldn't have got here without the bird transformation. Now here's where the magical sword plays a role. We're going to select that and then break the very middle block in this room. That one there. And then we'll swap back to a normal sword and break that open. So that's really literally the only thing the magical saber is used for in the game. That's it. Apart from that room where you get the magical saber. So this last castle is sort of a big test of your skill of all the different characters. Well, everyone except for the lizard character. That door down on the right there has a nurse in it. So if you do want to heal up, that's a good option to have here. And I'm going to show most of this dungeon just because there's a lot of invisible walls and secret trickery. It's pretty linear, but sometimes you can get stuck. So I will show a lot of it. We're going to fly through as the bird here and go to the right. And we'll get our first character swap. If the blocks haven't clued you in yet, we're swapping to the mouse man, because it's going to climb on those checkered blocks there. So we'll climb on these, and we'll go through the invisible wall here. So there's a bit of a zigzag pattern to get through this one, but we'll get out here and then we'll keep going to the right. There's invisible walls on these screens, so you can skip a lot of the challenge there. And we'll get our last heart piece in this room here. So we're going to head back to the left now. These clouds are obviously quite annoying. If you have the arrow power up, that's very helpful. And we're going to head down through this secret wall again here. Makes that room a lot easier. And we'll turn into the piranha. And we're going to head out this door now. So the piranha's pretty much going to go right through these two rooms until you get to this door. And then we'll change into the lion. And then the lion will do a similar thing here. So unfortunately the lion's too big to sneak through that invisible wall down there. So we are stuck going through this room normally. And we're going to go down through this section here. And we got a transformation door here. So we're going to be the hawk just to finish off the dungeon. We'll fly pretty much straight upwards to go through the next couple rooms. And then we're going to go right through this invisible wall and we'll be at the final boss door. There we go. So with this final boss, you want to hit it on the center face, not the top face. Like you want to hit it on its stomach, essentially. And once you get enough hits, you'll have beaten Wonder Boy 3. So we can see we're getting all of our transformations taken away until we're back to human, which is the human character. That's pretty much everything this game has to show. There's lots of secrets and interesting things. I said about the Tasmanian sword and the Hades armor having special features before. There's lots of armors like that. There's some weird passwords where you can play as human even though you're not supposed to. So it's a very deep game with a lot to it. But that's pretty much the standard route through the game that I've shown you. No glitches or exploits or anything going on. So I'll leave it here and I'll play the credits out, but I hope you've enjoyed this speedy walkthrough.